Our guest this week, jazz musician Xavier Lecouturier. We've got a very special show for you folks. Let's go. Wednesday, July 22nd is upon us. Thank you so much for joining us today for a very special show. My name is Kevin McManus. I am the host of this show, and this is the 14th episode. There are 13 episodes before this, so go ahead and visit averyspecialshow.com and listen to those 13 other episodes. They are fantastic. We love all of our guests. This week, we got a really great young jazz musician. We are really excited to get to that interview, but first, arts news. The federal government is debating whether or not to extend unemployment benefits to the millions of United Statesians out of work due to COVID-19. At the same time, thousands of arts organizations are planning for an incredibly uncertain future. The Broadway League has just announced they are putting everything off until at least the beginning of next year. That means hundreds of thousands of arts professionals, including performers, crew, writers, designers, musicians, ushers, choreographers, box office staff, house managers, and administrators who have dedicated their lives to building experience for arts travelers will remain workless until next year. According to the Broadway League's statistics, Broadway attendance topped those of the 10 professional New York and New Jersey sports teams combined in 2018 and 2019, bringing in about $14.7 billion and 100,000 jobs in New York City alone. These massive contributors to our economies need help. Call your congresspeople today to support extending benefits to them indefinitely. They didn't create this pandemic, but they did create a whole bunch of valuable beauty, and now we owe them something. Anything. And the Creative Advantage is a citywide initiative to establish equitable access to arts education for public school students. They operate as a public-private partnership with Seattle Public Schools, City of Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, and the Seattle Foundation. They have responded swiftly to the changing times and now operate as Creative Advantage Online Arts. Through engaging and interactive online arts courses, they offer diverse perspectives on a range of artistic disciplines and content areas. You can participate in their work or support them by visiting creativeadvantageseattle.org. And finally, just when we thought we may be returning to a semblance, a smidgen, a modicum of normalcy, it has been snatched away from us. Due to immense increases in the number of positive COVID-19 tests in Washington state, the highest single-day increases since the thing began, Governor Jay Inslee declared a ban once again on all live entertainment across the state. The ban also includes a reduction in attendees at all social gatherings, meaning those communities in Phase 3 were reduced from 50 people in a gathering to 10 people per gathering. Oi. Nothing left to say. We'll get there. You know what to do. Just live with a loving heart until it's all over and we get to reclaim our time and our gathering spaces once again. And now for our interview with jazz musician Xavier Lecouturier. First off, for the folks at home who don't know you or your work, tell us a little bit about who you are, your history, and about the creative work that you do.
I grew up in the Bay Area, Marin County, just north of San Francisco. Started playing the guitar at a really young age. Parents listened to a lot of Latin music in the house and stuff like that. I liked a lot of Santana, actually, so watching Santana made me really want to play the guitar when I was super young. But eventually, I went to an arts high school and I picked up the drums my senior year of high school and really fell in love with that, which ended up taking me to Cornish in Seattle, where I studied for 4 years. And there I met a lot of the cats in Seattle. Eventually ended up recording a record with the band I started there. And I've done a lot of playing around the Washington area and around the country as well, and did a little tour with my record. Yeah, little stuff I've done so far.
Great. I actually live just down the street from Cary Hall, which I believe would have been where you would have taken at least some of your classes, right?
Oh, yeah. I spent, all my time at Cary Hall. Jesus.
Yeah, that's the music program is there. So did you,
right.
you didn't just graduate, did you?
Technically, I finished up a couple years ago. I got like one credit I got to do,
Oh, right.
which I haven't done yet. So technically, I haven't graduated, but I finished. Yeah, I finished the program about a couple years ago now, I think.
Has
2
this
years?
whole
Yes.
has this pandemic wreaked havoc on that process of trying to get re-engaged with them, or what's been going on with that?
Well, I haven't even thought about it. I got like one I think humanities science credit to do, and I just
Oh, right.
I haven't been able to push myself to do it because I really don't see a need to do it right now. I'm not continuing my education right now, and
Right.
it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter whether I have a music degree or not. It
Once
doesn't
you
make a
once you
difference.
get that taste of that professional work and that professional engagement, I can totally get that. I had a professor actually come to me and tell me sometimes college just isn't for everybody, and if you're able to make your means and make your bones on just doing the work professionally and learning that way, I mean, sometimes that's just the better way to go for it. You have a quintet. How did that come about, and who's all involved with that project?
That happened at Cornish. I was in put an ensemble with Chuck Deerdorf, and I met the first person we kind of started the band with. His name was Lucas Winter. He was a guitar player, so he was in that first combo at Cornish I was a part of. So we started playing a lot, and then he introduced me to his friend Gus Carnes, who plays the piano. And they're longtime friends. I think they went to Roosevelt or Garfield, one of those schools. I'm not sure, but so he introduced me to Gus, who's a beautiful piano player. We started playing together, and then eventually found my really good friend Ben Feldman, who's also I think a Roosevelt grad. And yeah, that was the band. We started writing music, playing every week together. Started playing around town, and yeah, eventually recorded a record with that exact group. Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys are firmly a jazz group, but your music is a lot more accessible than that. It inserts styles from like classic music, Latin, jazz. There's like Mexican pop and rock influences in there. When you're composing a song, do you bring those styles together consciously, or are they just what kind of spills out and kind of crashes together when you guys are collaborating?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just like the underlying kind of thing that inspires my music. It's nothing I consciously try to force into, not force, but yeah, just it's nothing I'm thinking about and trying to
You're not like
force into the music.
you're not like following a genre and making sure that you're staying within it. It just kind of flows out. That's kind of great. Like,
Yeah.
is it a kind of a natural process for your quintet? I mean, or do you, I know that you're kind of like the leader of the quintet. Your name is on the bill, but
Sure.
you guys are. I'm sure there's a lot of collaboration, especially when you have a bunch of jazz musicians coming together. What does that process look like for you guys? Like when you're coming together with a track, is there a lot of live recording that comes out of it, or is there really focused kind of? Is there on paper you're writing the notes down and doing a lot of that, or how does that work for you
Yeah.
guys?
A lot of the music is composed, by each of the members, and we kind of write it out, and we bring it to the group, and we try it out, and then we kind of edit together, I would say. That's kind of the process.
Oh,
So, like, I'll have a chart, the song kind of put together, and I'll chart it out for everybody. I bring it in, we read it down, kind of play it, and then we start making edits with each other, like the guitar player would be like, oh, yeah, maybe this line could do this, or piano player's like, this harmony could go somewhere else here. And then, yeah, so it's a collaborative effort in that way, but, yeah, usually we bring our own ideas to the group, and then work from there.
You're also the member of multiple other projects with other folks around the city, around the area. I think you're a part of another quintet, and you lead another octet, and you co-direct a big band. What's the drive? Where does this staying busy come from? What are you driven to do?
Yeah, man, that's a good question.
Because that's a busy schedule.
Yeah, it was busy. It was busy, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Everything's shut down now.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just everything was kind of feeding off each other, all these projects, and it was just really about becoming a better musician, playing more, having more opportunities to play with other musicians, and just growing as a musician. I mean, it was cool to just start. Me and my buddy Dylan Hayes, who I actually went to high school with and came to Cornish with me, we just kind of made shit happen for ourselves in the city. Just like started bands, started groups, and it ended up working pretty good. We kept busy and were able to write music and grow a lot. Yeah.
When did you fall in love with jazz? When did that genre draw you in originally? Where did it come from?
Yeah, it was probably senior year of high school. I just kind of ended up playing drums in the jazz band, and I started kind of checking out some of the music. I heard this one record, Kendrick Scott, who's still one of my favorite drummers, has a record called Conviction. And there's like a track on there that's got this like hip hop feel on it and like really cool harmony and stuff and pretty modern. I just like totally fell in love. I was like, wow, this is like what jazz can be. And I just fell in love right then and there.
You know, I've had a long love affair with a guy named Mulatu Astatke, which is like that Ethiopian jazz.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
oh man, it just kind of rolls on and on and on, and there's just a lot of looping but there's a lot of the synth piano in there, and jazz is one of my things. I don't know, some people who don't know me don't know that about me, but jazz is one of my things, and I've been listening to your music all morning. It helps me kind of get through like maybe a creative block sometimes. If I sit there with some jazz and a cup of coffee and just let my mind kind of flow with it a little bit, it kind of frees me up a little bit. I don't know if that's a feeling that you get at all, but it's something that kind of
totally.
lets me, yeah. Most of the time in live
That's
performances, you specifically, Xavier, can be seen behind a drum set. Why the drums? I'm sure you play lots of other instruments, but as a jazz drummer, you are constantly moving and shifting with the music. You're the integral frame that kind of keeps it driving. You know, while everybody else is playing their little solo or something like this, there's still that ting and the pop of the percussion keeping the song going.
Yeah.
What draws you to the drums specifically?
Yeah, I think the instrument came really naturally, which was cool. I didn't have a drum set for I think 3 years into my career as a drummer. I just kind of but I fell in love with it. It worked really well. I played the guitar for 8 years, and I never really had much progress. But the drums, it was really natural. So that was initially what really drew me to them. And yeah, more than that, drums are a beautiful instrument because it's the bass and snare drum come from Europe. Cymbals come from Turkey and China. The drums are have the roots in Africa, and it's one thing you're playing as an American instrument. So it's a beautiful thing culturally.
Wow.
It's a powerful instrument. It's you're at the throne, man. You're at the throne and keeping the band together. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So, what does it feel like when I'm hearing a lot of passion come out of not just for the making music and performing and all that, but there's a passion for music itself, the production of it. You guys sit down and edit together. What does it feel like when the band is there, driving with each other? You sit down and you listen to jam and jazz musicians, and they describe this sensation that's akin to bliss when there's that roll, that roll gets going. What does that feel like when you're in the middle of that moment and it's just all working really well?
Yeah, wow. It's really hard to describe, but I don't know. Yeah, just total happiness, total bliss, just serenity. I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Makes life worth living,
Totally. Yeah. When you're creating, is there any sort of goal as far as what you want your art to do, or is it really just the art itself, you're creating of the art that you're drawn to? Or are you trying to make a comment, or is there a statement to be made, or is it really just about the art?
Yeah, right. I was actually just talking with my friends here. It's some people say all art is political, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really know yet. I'm still trying to learn that and figure it out. I'm only 22 years old. I'm trying to figure out what that means for me still. But sometimes I make art for a reason. Sometimes it's just to make art.
Right.
I'm not sure yet. I'm too young to answer that question, I think.
We'll be right back with Xavier Lecouturier right after this break.
Do you own or manage a local business? Are you looking for affordable access to a large, diverse customer base? Advertise your products and services here on a very special show. We provide a variety of opportunities for small local businesses to speak directly to our ever-growing audience of engaged, discerning listeners. We never take a one-size, one-price-fits-all approach. We tailor your marketing experience to suit your needs. Interested in knowing more? Visit averyspecialshow.com and use the contact form to tell us what you are looking for. We've got episodes going live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Keep loving, keep creating.
Hey Rebecca, have you seen this new edition of Oli Arts?
No, what's in there?
Oh man, this is the South Puget Sound's premier multi-platform arts publication. This thing is packed with info about performances, music, visual arts, and other cultural events happening right down the street. They've got bi-monthly print editions, daily online content, occasional podcasts, and enhanced mobile experiences. Oli Arts is the guide to local arts and culture.
Why does it feel like we're in an ad again?
Because we absolutely are.
Oh boy.
Visit oliarts.org. That's OLYARTS.org. That's right. How did you know?
I'm the ad girl.
I love you, ad girl.
Now give me that Oli Arts magazine. I want to read about the new gallery opening.
Now back to a very special show. You come from a pretty mixed background as far as a lot of cultures coming and colliding together. You want to tell us a little bit about your history, your personal history, like what kind of, where you grew up and your parents and how that kind of all came together? And was there any music influence in the home early on for you?
Yeah, right. So yeah, my mom is from Mexico, and my dad is from France, and they met in the States here. Yeah, and they brought a lot of their music with them. My mom listened to like a lot of the Mexican pop rock stuff as a kid. My dad actually loved Latin music as well. A lot of Cuban music, like I said, Santana, Maná. What else? My mom actually listened to a lot of classical music, so there was always music in the house. And I kind of missed out on like the American rock stuff, or I don't know. But yeah, they brought a lot of great music to the house and just inspired me to play. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's a cool thing. I appreciate it a lot.
It really helps, I think, with kind of the flavor of the music that you do end up playing. It's like really, I mean, since it's all in there, since you have that background, it really translates into very unique kind of form of jazz. Because as a person who is a jazz fan, I'm a fan of your music specifically because I feel like I get to almost like sample all these different kinds of jazz inside this one artist, and it's really kind of a fascinating kind of journey when you're listening to one of your songs, instead of having to listen to different kinds of jazz, you get all these different kinds of jazz in the one track with the one artist, and I think that's a fascinating kind of way of sampling music in a way.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. What's next, man? What do you do 5, 10, 20 years? I know everybody's kind of like, maybe tomorrow the world will end, but I mean, it's not going to end.
Right.
I'm firm on that. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And what are you going to be doing in 5, 10, and 20 years? What's the next goal here? I know that you're out of the state right now. You live in Washington still, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Or
Yeah, well, I don't really know now. I guess I've been in Alaska for the last kind of 5 months. But yeah, I don't know what's next. I'm thinking about it right now. Like I gotta go somewhere. I don't know whether to go back to Seattle. I've been thinking about moving to New York or LA. But I love Seattle, man. It's got a special place in my heart. I don't really know what's next yet. Yeah, I can kind of working on a pilot's license right now, so I might be doing that.
great.
Yeah, I don't know. Right now, it's hard to say.
It's kind of cool that you have all these options, that, being the kind of person who is driven to work so hard, and that you have made your connections, that you have this kind of open freedom, these many different avenues to explore. Plus, I'm going to be 31 at the end of the year, and I think you just said you're going to be like 21 or something like that. So
Yeah,
you've got like,
22,
it's going to be so nice. You're going to have such a great 20s, and it sounds like you're a lot more focused than I was in my early 20s. So it's going to be really nice for you when you make those next connections, and there's going to be some more amazing projects coming out of that. So I don't know if you've ever listened, but I have these 2 questions at the end of every interview that I ask everybody. They're very general, kind of basic questions, but they also kind of inspire. I want people to kind of dig deeply and think about them. But I also, I'm not going to specify them. I'll just ask you the question, and whatever the first thing that comes in your mind, just go ahead and let us know what you're thinking. What do you struggle with is the first question.
Okay. Yeah. Lots of things. Jeez. As most artists, probably insecurity. Yes, I have a hard time putting out work all the time, just because like I'll write something or have a band together, or whatever it is, and I never think it's good enough.
Right.
That's the hardest thing I struggle with. It's just like kind of biting the bullet and be like, all right, I'm putting this out. I'm doing this, or this tune's good enough. It's gonna work. But even so, I got like millions of songs and charts and stuff that never been played or never been finished and stuff like that. But I don't know. Insecurity is a really hard one for me. Even beyond music, but we don't need to talk about that.
I don't think a lot of people realize, like, a musician or even just anybody working on a project, especially digital media content, when you're working on it, you don't have to put it out until you're ready to. And so you make all these plans and you work on something. And some people will work on a track or a piece, like let's say even a painter. They'll work on this piece for years sometimes. And it's that moment between, okay, it feels done and is it done? And then actually clicking that upload button on the, on Spotify or on wherever you're releasing this stuff, that moment is actually extremely, even for me, is extremely kind of nerve-wracking because you've worked really hard, you've really put a lot of thought and energy into the thing, and it's just that bridge, it's just that moment. Is this ready for the people? And I totally get where you're coming from on that one, for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And the second question, what is important to you?
Yeah, for me, I think living a balanced life, good people around me, being healthy, just being like a balanced person, trying to be good. Yeah, for me, that's what I'm really working on these days, even just outside of music, just trying to be a balanced person. That's really important to me.
Balance as in work to personal, or balance as in just all around, the way that you handle with people, or like what kind of balance are you seeking?
Really everything. Yeah, I mean, having a balance of work and freedom, having a balance of fear and confidence, having a balance of humor and darkness. I don't know, just yeah, whatever it is.
Well, that's brilliant. I really appreciate your time, Xavier, and I want you to go ahead and this last little piece at the end, whatever you want the audience to know. This will be, why don't you tell them where they can find your work, maybe a little bit about your website and what the URL for that is, and this is your time.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, not a lot of new stuff coming out these days, but a good place to keep in touch with me is, my website's XavierLecouturiermusic.com. I do have a Spotify account, I believe, with some music up there. But yeah, website's probably the best place, and there might be some new projects coming up soon, so look out for those. But other than that, I got nothing.
Right. And those links are in the description box below. Doesn't matter what platform you're listening on. I've included those on the description box, so go ahead and find that. Click through. He's got a great website. You can access his music. He's got some music up on YouTube as well to listen to. I've been jamming it all morning, and I really appreciate your time, Xavier. Have a great afternoon, okay?
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it, man.
And now we close the show out with Object Subject. Here is this week's objective fact. In the late 20th century, personal home computers became the thing. In this early part of the 21st century, social media has become a major part of life for billions around the world. It has interconnected so many people across such vast distances from varying cultures and societies. But now, here's the subjective thought. It's not all good. There's nothing unique or new about me saying social media carries some negatives with its positives, but I think it bears repeating, especially right now when Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the rest have become horrifying versions of themselves, where violent, abusive people have been emboldened to use these platforms to spread their hatred and fear. These social media spaces are not real life. Sure, they can certainly appear like real people. A profile can carry all the attributes of a person, including their face and their ideas, but that profile will never be all of that person. The wonderful thing about us is that we have the ability to see who we are, what we've become, how we have behaved, and then we can change. How can a reformed person who once used hate but has reclaimed themselves in love reach people? How can they cut through the algorithms and the cookies and the caches and the marketing schemes to truly communicate their new heart? Social media isn't simply flawed, it can be quite foul. They have stolen our data, destroyed our relationships, and muddled our communication, and we've been complicit. We handed it all to them. What can we do? Leave. Opt out. Learn to love our friends and families and experiences in person once again. Forget your phone at home sometimes. Uninstall the apps and grant yourself a rich, full peace. Love people unconditionally again. Let them keep their different ideas within them in peace. Who really wants to know everything everyone is thinking all the time? That just sounds like we're fishing for things to hate about the people that we actually love. Let's all give ourselves a little bit of peace. Try it, just for a day. No hashtag necessary, just a day without a screen full of hate. That is it for Object Subject, and that is it for this edition of a very special show. Thank you so much for listening. Keep loving and keep creating. Thanks for listening to the show. Visit averyspecialshow.com for more information about the podcast. You can support the show by visiting anchor.fm/averyspecialshow. Click the support button. Any amount helps. We really appreciate it. And of course, click subscribe, follow, or like wherever you get your podcasts.